Hey everybody, it's Lisa and Nancy, and today we are here at the Peachfork-Winery we're in Palisade, Colorado, right?
Right.
We've got Phil and Sue here who run the winery, and it's also an orchard, and we've been tasting the wine for a little bit now, and are we happy, Nancy?
Yes, we are.
As always, but this is some exceptional wine, and we've tried two different varietals that we've never had before. Phil, what are those that we're talking about?
We've tried Chamberson and Norray. So.
Chamberson and Norray. So let's talk to you, Sue, a little bit, because this property that we're on comes from your family, right? Family history.
Right. We're the second generation on this property.
And so you're surrounded by, I'm saying these are mountains, but then they're like big, beautiful buttes in a way out here, right?
Right. It's the book cliffs.
The book cliffs.
They look like books on a shelf, so they're called the book cliffs.
And
the Colorado Plateau and Mount Garfield.
So a lot of people wouldn't think you could grow wine out in this kind of terrain, but apparently...
You mean grapes?
Oh, grapes, yeah.
Yes. We have the Colorado River here that we irrigate everything. It would be a desert if it wasn't for the Colorado River. And we irrigate all of our peaches and apples and our vineyards with we're at a higher altitude, but we're a warm climate and cool nights, and that's our secret. So, and then we have a breeze that comes out of the Colorado mountains that keeps us a little bit warmer in the springtime, that makes it better. So
at the beginning of this, you had peach orchards, right? So that's where the start of the growing.
With the family orchard started as apples.
Apples and then
peaches and then wine grapes.
And then wine grapes, okay. And then you have eating grapes too, right?
Yes, we have table grapes. Black Manuka.
I say eating grapes, table grapes.
Black Manuka table grapes.
Black Manuka.
Black Manuka. They make fabulous raisins.
Oh.
They're very sweet.
So your first run was Cabernet?
Cabernet Franc was our first commercial.
And when was that? How long ago was that?
2016.
2016.
Oh.
Wow. I thought, I'm like, you've been doing this for years.
We've been raising wine grapes since 1994.
Okay, so you know grapes, and then what got you involved in this? So and I know you're from Kentucky, so you're supposed to be doing bourbon. What are you doing with wine? So I know Kentucky's making wine.
Well, it's all my wife. I married my wife's from Colorado, and then met her in Gallup, New Mexico. We was talking about.
Yeah.
And then her mother asked me to go in partners with her, and we. About 25 years ago, we went in partners with Susan, my wife's mother. So.
Okay, so that's how it started.
Lola.
That's your granddaughter's name, right?
Yes.
No, Lola.
The fourth generation will be named Lola too.
Oh man, so this is the beauty of this. So do you think the land has something special to it for being here and being farmed for a few generations now? And do you think it helps with the growth of the actual orchard, the growth of the vines?
I think that there's a joint caring there. We care for the land, and the land cares for us. In a year like this year that was hard and we lost a lot of our fruit, we just know that next year will be sweeter, that much better. And I think when you visit a smaller winery like this, you can taste the sweat equity that goes into the lands.
Well, the wines are excellent.
Yeah.
Seriously, smooth. I liked every one.
I know. Right now we're drinking the peach wine. And my first thing was when people say, peach wine, fruit wine, I'm like, we're going to have syrup, cocktail syrup kind of thing.
They're really good.
And I'm learning to get rid of that mindset, because especially this, this is refreshing, and it does.
Yeah.
It's not overly sweet at all, yet it could be a nice dessert wine. Is that pretty much what people would use for wine, or do they drink it kind of normally?
Well, when we have catered meals here, they serve the peach wine with the dessert.
Okay.
But it's I personally don't like a sweet wine, and I'm the winemaker, so it's hard for me to make a real sweet wine. But there's a lot of people that like a sweeter wine, so I make a sweeter wine, but not a real sweet wine. So.
What about your white wines? Because we actually started on the red. We kind of went backwards, right?
Yeah.
I know. Well, I'm blonde.
Well, we didn't have a tasting. We had a dinner. So.
Yeah, we had a dinner. And you know what? I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Dancing Moon B&B because they were smoking meats, and it's like it's been a beautiful gathering here, and you can't beat the views, and the company is amazing. It's been an awesome night. But we started backwards with red wine. We love red wine, but. So tell us about your whites. What did we miss?
We have a dry Riesling.
Okay.
And then we have a semi-sweet Traminette. It's again, I'm not a real sweet winemaker, but the Traminette is a semi-sweet. I don't know if you've even tried it.
No, I've never even. Okay, so this is a new one. Like
I had one of the whites.
Oh yeah,
excellent.
You had a dry Riesling.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Really?
And coming from drinking wine in South Africa, which is known for Riesling, they better watch out for you.
Yeah. But you're growing different things, like the Nore. Did I say it?
Yep.
I got it right now.
Yep.
Don't ask me to say the other one.
We have all the traditional Chardonnay, Merlot, Syrah, but we got some good advice quite a while ago to try some different varietals. So we didn't have to compete with the other.
Well, I think it's an education because also it's biodiversity. I look at that kind of thing where it's biodiversity of the land, but you're opening our eyes to this whole other world of wine that, everybody just goes, oh, there's Merlot, Cabernet, Chardonnay, that's it. You're done. Or Pinot Grigio, that's about...
Well, the Traminette's I don't know if you're familiar with the Vinho Verdes, the Portuguese green wines. They're a white. It's similar to that. The Traminette is a Chardonnay and a Gewürztraminer blend, so it's cold hardy.
So I know there's fruit, and this area is well known for their peaches, right? So it's like one of the, outside of Georgia, right? There's like a little rivalry, Okay, so and that goes to the weather, but. Were you wine drinkers before all this?
Yes.
Yeah, we've always, and I've made homemade wine for all my life, so it's not that I haven't made wine, it's just that I've got a commercial winery for 4 years or whatever, so.
Okay.
We've been raising grapes since '94 for Carlson's winery.
Okay, so you go from there.
Have you tried making moonshine?
Debbie, come on.
I've been around it some, but I haven't.
Okay, so I know that you both, understand geology and mining. What about the soil here in regards, because I know the temperature is interesting and different, and that's what helps with the peaches too, right? But what about the soil?
Grapes don't like real high quality soil, and it's rocky. They like hillsides that are well drained. And our soil is not real good, so grapes do very well.
Okay, so what about roses? Do roses go well out here? It seems like the same thing.
Yes.
Because that's the thing. I was saying to you earlier when we first met you this afternoon that we've noticed that wineries and mining towns go hand in hand, but I've also seen the same thing with roses and wineries and mining towns. So I think it's got to do with the minerals. I don't know.
The poor quality soil is a
good thing. I know, right?
I think it's the drainage. Like roses don't like to go to bed with wet feet.
Right.
I don't either.
So
rocky soil.
Exactly. So rocky soil lets things drain, and so it works for grapes. The same as roses.
What is the hardest thing about being a winery? They're like, don't ask me that kind of question.
A little bit of fear.
Yeah.
You only make your product once a year. A brewery does that once a month, or maybe every 2 months. But once a year, if something goes wrong, you lost a year.
Wow.
So if we have something go bad, we lost a year.
And I'm always trying to get better and better, and it takes a year to get another chance to do to make something better.
Yeah.
So.
And then it's gone. See, that's what is, to me, the hardest thing about wine, is that you fall in love with a wine, and then the next year is going to be different, which is exciting, but you miss that one, it's fleeting love. It's a summer love. It comes It was beautiful, and then it's like, bye.
And that weather and that situation that year made that grape different.
But that's kind of nice, you know, that everything's different every time, even though it's kind of the same variety of grape, but it's going to taste a little different.
And it
every
was
time.
hard for us to learn to throw a bad batch away.
Oh,
you invested all that in it. You grew it, and tried your best in it, but if it's not good enough for the public to actually dump it, was hard to learn.
Oh.
So what's the biggest joy for you?
The customers.
I love the interaction with the people. Same way with the growing peaches. I like the interaction of selling the peaches, and I like the interaction of selling the wine too. And people are pleased, you know. I'm always trying to make the best I can, and people are pleased with your product, and that's just wonderful. You know?
Yeah, you don't want to disappoint them. And now you were saying that you also work with like kids and churches with the peaches and the apples too for fundraisers and things.
Our peaches sell themselves. We don't have to work very hard.
Well, I'm really bummed because I want one, but I'll take the wine.
and we've over the years sold. We to a lot of fundraisers, and it's the best part because they make more money than we do. But they're so excited for us to bring the peaches to them.
Do you think it's interesting being here? We've been here 24 hours?
Not even.
Maybe. I can't keep anyway. 24 hours we've been here almost, and it already seems like this is a very warm community that kind of
close knit.
Is that the same in regards to the wineries? Do you guys help each other during like freezes and in the farms?
Yeah.
The smaller ones.
The smaller ones and the people that we work with. That's the kind of people we want to work with. And the same way with the fundraisers. We don't want to. If somebody doesn't want to work with us, we don't want to work with them either. So So we pick those people, and like the group we're with tonight. They're all trying to help us, and we're trying to help them. So.
I think it's especially important now with the COVID thing, and that's been difficult. But here's the thing: one thing we all need during bad situations is wine. So I know that right now it's a private party and it's different. Do you see light at the end of the tunnel in regards to being open again and being able to be in full operation for people to come back? Because you guys, usually are having music and things like that out here.
Yeah, we thrive off our wine tasting and our sales from our wine tasting. And a lot of those people are coming from the Denver Eastern Slope area of Colorado.
Okay.
And we understand why they don't want them to come over here and cross-contaminate.
Nobody wants to get anybody sick.
But that's our livelihood for our winery. We aren't in a lot of liquor stores and we do online sales, but we're small.
Yeah.
So
people can purchase online from you.
Yes. Okay. Most of our sales are probably 10% are local, and the rest are from out of.
It's going to get better though. It's on its way to change though.
And what's your website?
It's peachfork.com.
Peachfork.
Yeah, like a pitchfork, only a peachfork.
Yeah, I was going to say, how'd you come up with that name? It's clever.
It's probably the only time you do creative things is when you come up with your logo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
But we did that years ago. That was the name of our first peach orchard and our sales. So
we
just kept it on the winery.
The wine label. Talk about the wine label and that beautiful
and the truck. Yeah.
Yeah, we try to make something unusual. Everything we do, just like our wines, we try to make a wine that first of all it's got to be good, and the second thing is if we can make it unusual and not like anybody else's. That's why we use the grapes we use. But the truck we've got, it's an old truck that was in the family. So the best compliment you can have is somebody can copy what your idea is. But then we try to come up with something that's different than everybody else. So.
You guys always sit and are you having wine time at sunset? Because the sunsets here are amazing. Going, okay, what's next? What's next? Do you have a lot of what's next conversations?
Phil has a lot more ideas than I have. I want to slow down. He always wants to speed up.
Okay.
But we're okay. we don't have a lot of money invested. We buy a lot of things used, and we'll be just fine.
Yeah. Well, this is beautiful. The property is, it's a relaxing winery to go to, and I think things have changed in the wine industry. The whole la-di-da snobby thing, it still exists, but people want to be able to relax at a winery, should have fun, and it should be informative. And I think that's what's great about your wine. Not only does it taste good, and you're like, ooh, this is something interesting, I want to learn something new, and you're doing it in a casual, friendly atmosphere and beautiful atmosphere. So I think you guys, what you're doing is really nice. You know,
thank you.
It's an interesting. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go Google grapes now. You know what I mean? It's like you know, when you
how many varieties of grapes are there?
I know.
It's like
hundreds.
Yeah, because as we travel and go to wineries, you think oh, this grape, that grape, and then all of a sudden, no, there's another one.
Yeah. When we travel and we try to stop at other wineries, and we always want to know if they're growing their own grapes. And, you know, we want to know the whole story.
Yeah.
And it means more to us if we can talk to the winemaker and the grape grower, and people like that. They feel comfortable asking us the kinds of questions they wouldn't ask at a higher end place.
Right, exactly. Now, because you're doing these different varietals, are there some you can't grow here? Or, you know, are you looking for can any kind of grape grow here?
Well, our problem is in the middle of the winter, if it gets below 14 degrees, negative 14 degrees, the grapes plants will die to the ground.
Yeah.
And then you have 3 years before you have a crop.
Oh.
So, and wine keeps, so if you have wine and you have enough of it, you can make it through that time period. So we're always looking for a grape that can handle the cold winters here. Because we have, over time, that's why none of our grapes have really large trunks. It's because they have at times frozen to the ground.
Oh, wow. But they'll come back.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to kill a grape.
And because
some
the world needs wine.
And some people are very much into, how many tons per acre and things like that. We're more into the quality.
Yeah.
Are these the grapes that we want to make wine with?
Yeah.
But back to your question, some grapes that don't grow here as well as other grapes. So and people are trying. There's a research center here. Colorado State University has a research center here, and there's some that grows up in the mountains also that do better up in the mountains than they do here. The ones that come from Minnesota or somewhere like that, it gets 100 degrees here sometimes, and not all grapes grow as well here as some of the other ones. So.
Okay.
One grape that does very well here and has great flavor is a Limburger.
Oh, okay. Now I have actually heard that one.
And people think it's a cheese.
No, it's got a little airplane on the side of the grape.
I didn't know there was a Limburger grape.
The Limburger grape here in this valley, we can't grow enough of it. It makes a fabulous wine, but nobody makes a straight up Limburger wine.
Are they using it for blends or? Okay.
But that's one grape that does very well here. That you won't find a bottle of Limburger at the liquor store. It's just not done. But perhaps we'll look at doing that just because it's so good here.
Well, it's just like the other one that the.
Norea, the Chamberson. The
Chamberson. You said that's used in blends, but most people aren't using it as a
varietal. Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, that was wow.
And part of that is marketing. It's people wanting they're on the liquor store shelves. They need a place to sit next to the Merlot, and where are they going to put them in the liquor store if they don't have a?
Oh, here we go. So it's all about
that's the marketing thing.
Okay.
That if people come to our winery, we don't have to worry about that.
See, but and you're having an experience, right? And an interaction, and I think what's important is the same thing what happened to tomatoes. Remember, we had to fight for heirloom tomatoes unless you grew them yourself or knew your farmer. So, I mean, even turkey now, it's all the same turkey. Right. Unless you go to your farmer.
It's that biodiversity you talked about.
Yeah, it's so important. And then if you don't use that, and people don't know those names, then eventually one day they disappear. So I think it's important what you're doing. I really do.
It's more fun.
Yeah, and I'm still not going to be able to pronounce them, but maybe with coffee in the morning.
I've never heard it say, would you like some Limburger wine?
Yeah, but I think that's...
Oh, he has some back there in the tank.
cool.
Get in the tank, Nancy.
I would.
I do want to ask you, because we have our happy hour shows, and we always like to ask this question, but I want to modify it a little bit. If you could have one of your bottles of wine, pick one of your wines, with anyone alive or passed on, who would it be? You're going to share a happy hour moment here at the winery, because you've got awesome views, so you're staying here. Who would it be that you just take that bottle of wine, sit down, and have a good conversation? I mean, it could be Hemingway, it could be Anthony Bourdain, it could be anybody. It could be family, it could be anybody. It could be Jesus. You know, we've had a lot of those.
I know.
A lot of people want to sit. But then they say they want iced tea, and I'm like, Jesus made wine, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I mean, dude, he made wine out of water. It'd be nice.
He did not make iced tea.
He didn't want iced tea. He wanted wine.
He didn't know how to make ice cubes.
No. Anyway, who would you?
Well, if it was me, I would be my mother.
Yeah.
She's got us all started in this crazy business.
So what wine would you pair with this experience?
Of what we have right now, I think the Chambourcin. That's the closest to the Cabernet Sauvignon.
And what would you talk about?
That I wished I'd paid more attention to what my mother told me. What she
Oh,
tried to
great.
teach me.
Thank you
I
so
really liked you.
Oh, God.
My mother and I are an awful lot alike, but she used to take me around the orchard and teach me things about the orchard, because I was working and raising kids and not paying attention, and I learned a lot, but I didn't learn enough.
Well, you will.
But
I'm sure
I
you
wish
will.
that I would have paid closer attention.
Oh, great. I'm going to hear this all the way back to the bed and breakfast.
So perfect.
Well, and I never told her that, so
I'm so glad we're not sharing rooms tonight, Nancy.
And I would, if someone from Phil's family, I would like to sit with his dad. His dad was a character, and
Yeah.
I'd say my dad. My dad didn't drink, so we didn't drink alcohol. So, well, he wasn't very religious, but wasn't that he just didn't drink. But
Okay.
I called him every day, and he hadn't been gone that many years, so I miss not calling him. So.
Oh, yeah, that's always the worst part, is when you
and
can't
he
all
could
the
fix.
time.
And my dad knew a lot. I mean, he didn't. I don't know. He wasn't ever a mechanic or anything like that, but he just knew everything about being a mechanic or whatever. And I miss not just asking him questions.
Yeah. Yeah. But now, if you were going to tell him, like, okay, come on, you're going to taste some wine, even though you don't drink, what would you say would be the entry level wine? The gateway. What's the gateway wine?
Yeah, probably the peach.
Yeah, I think because it is refreshing.
Well, his dad used to drive out here, park in our driveway during the peach harvest, and make all of the boxes for us. He'd put together the boxes. You have to be folded. 10,000 boxes in a season.
Oh my God.
And he would put every one of them
He
together.
came for like 15 years. He brought his camper out here for 15 years.
Was he coming from Kentucky?
Coming from Kentucky. And
Wow.
Parked in our driveway, and so he watched all of this grow. And
That's awesome.
But he would have tasted the peach wine.
Yeah. No, this is really good.
He turned into a peach snob over the years.
You know, this and I feel like this would go really well with ice cream. I've never said that about wine in my life.
That's got some traminette in it, and it's got a little bit of a crisp. It's a great picnic wine.
Ooh. It's a Portofino wine.
It is. For sure.
Here we go with our Portofino. Now
You have to
listen.
show the Portofino.
I will show you the Portofino. Okay, so anybody getting started in the winemaking world, what is one tip? Or orchards, I mean, geez, even that's, I mean, it's all hard. So you guys are a little passionate about what you do, obviously. What would be your tip?
Well, we learned from asking people. There's people will help you if you ask for help.
Isn't that, but you know what, that's so huge, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's my competition, they're not going to share with me, and that's really not true. If you grow together, you're stronger together.
Yes, and we do. A lot of people helped us, and so we like to help.
Yeah. How many wineries are in Palisade?
Oh.
over 100.
In this area?
In Colorado. In this area, 100?
Close to that, I think.
There's a lot.
Wow.
But you've also got the Fruit and Wine Byway?
Yep, we're right down, this a quarter of a mile right here is our Fruit and Wine Byway, that main road before you turned into our place, a quarter mile.
Okay. We've got 10 wineries within a ride your bike distance from us.
We got 2 within a quarter of a mile here.
I'm crawling. Don't put us on the bike.
Sometimes we go pick them up and give them a ride.
Well, this is a big cycling place too,
Yeah,
so a lot
it
of people are cycling around, which I think is great.
Yeah.
You know, and it's beautiful. I mean, really, the mountain views, the sunsets, and oh my gosh, and the natural. It's laid back. I'm 24 hours. I'm like, okay, we got another week here.
We live in a beautiful place.
You really do.
Here.
What is your tip?
You need to love what you're doing. And
that's key.
And then also you got to, there's a lot of detail, and you got to be, you can really get messed up if you don't get into the detail.
You were saying that you write everything down.
Yeah, I write everything down, but then on just the growing of the fruit and the growing of the grapes, you have to, you got to spray and prune correctly, and do one thing wrong and you're going to lose. So. So do you
write down the weather and watch everything in the weather?
No, I don't know, but
we watch it pretty close.
We watch it pretty close. We got a weather station that's right by our bed. We know what the.
You don't watch it that much. Oh my God, that's it. Okay.
Weather station.
Yeah. Okay, so how much is
temperature alarm?
Okay, so you have so is it different than what you're watching on the news?
Oh yes, we got a monitor. We got a weather station in here. Right out front here.
Okay, so you don't.
We know what the exact miles per hour.
You don't need the weathermen telling you.
This time of year, it's the wind that we're worried about, and
we noticed that in the afternoon it really picks up.
Right, and you don't want to water too much, and because we don't have a lot of fruit on our peach trees and things this year, you don't want to overwater them because then you just grow a bunch of tree. You want to be prepared for next year. So.
Oh wow, man, this is like a whole art form.
Well, and it's nature, so you can't control it, which is nice. It humbles you every once in a while, and you learn what you can and can't control.
How much of it is walking through the orchards and the vineyards to look at the plants and see what they're doing?
You need to do that on a regular basis.
And we water, and I mean I'm walking through it every day, just looking and seeing. There's another thing that different varieties want more water than other, like on the grapes. The Chamberson want a lot of water, and last year they started turning yellow, and the ones right next to them, Norray right next to them, they were pretty and green, and the Chamberson needed more water, and they're just the rows are side by side. So you got to go look at each variety and see if they need more water or less water. And
do you talk to them?
No, I don't talk to them.
I bet you do.
Because I curse at them.
We have our friend Jerry. Our friend Jerry has out in 29 Palms. She goes around. She goes, "Off with your head! If you bloom, sucker, you bloom, or you're out. You're out. You got to pay your dues, or else get out." And I swear to God, the plants actually listen.
And then they go, "Okay, we'll bloom."
And they do. Like 2 days later, there'll be flowers. And I'm like, "What did you do, Jerry? You got to tell them. They got to pay their dues." All right. Well, thank you.
Let me just say this: that when we have close to picking, we take samples every week and do analysis, and we taste the grapes and see what they're tasting like.
The actual grapes themselves.
The grapes themselves. Yeah, we go through and take 100 grapes.
And make a juice.
Make the juice and do analysis on the grape, but we also taste it, and we want to pick it at just the right time.
So are you looking for the sugar content when
the
you do
acid,
that?
the pH,
the acid
and the sugar.
Yeah. Okay. And the pH. Okay.
Yeah. And then we're also tasting though to get the right taste. So.
And for years we just made it when we grow mostly for another winery, and so when they said pick, we picked, and that's when. But that winemaker's different than ours, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Phil has different tastes, so we were leaving the grapes hang a lot longer for them, but that now we're learning what we want. So
it's really so harvest time is going to be different for every winemaker. You could all be growing the same grape, but when you harvest is going to be a different day according to what you want to make. And then how you ferment and age and do that whole process is going to be. And
they also blend. We talked about there's no.
Yeah.
But I'm making a Chamberson that's standalone.
He wants a straight up shot.
Yeah. So it's
so you don't want to put Coke in your whiskey or your bourbon.
No.
Excuse me, it's bourbon. You're from
maybe on the rocks.
Yeah, he's like on the rocks, but don't mess with it. You're like, that's it.
So you can't look at what the other person's doing because they're doing something different, and their wine's going to be wonderful. I'm not saying their wine's not wonderful.
But yours is different.
Ours is different, so we have to do it the way we want to do it.
Yeah, well, that's integrity.
That's cool because,
that's integrity, yeah.
you know, if you love wine, you're going to go and taste all of them and pick what works for you.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, it's like art. I look at it as art. You look, we'll look at two different paintings or listen to a song and we'll have the same or different opinion or expression or feeling, so I think the same with wine.
And we're fine if people don't like our wines. It's fine.
Well, there's somebody.
I'm not fine with it. I mean, what's wrong with it?
No,
but if that's
wrong with it.
Okay, yeah.
It's perfectly okay with us if you don't like it. It's whatever, they'll say, well, what wine do you like? And well, whatever wine you like is the one you need to buy, not what I like. But
some people just want a dry white, and I think something that almost fit anybody's palate. I got a dry red, and that next year I want to have a sweet red. So
yeah, a lot of people like sweet wine.
So I got a sweet white and a dry white and a rosé. And
that's why I wanted to touch on the rosé. Was the first thing I had. Yeah, the rosé, and it's just like that perfect balance. It just was like not too sweet, not too dry, but it has that crisp. I like that little ting. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like a little breeze that gets you at the end of your sip. You know what I mean? I'm weird about how I explain wine, but there is. You enjoy it.
There's a thing at the back of the throat when I don't know if the wine's.
Are you into the peppery back end again?
Yeah, there's that thing where you're like, it tastes good, but then and yours is just really smooth.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. I don't know the wine terms for that.
But I'm older, and if you're older to a certain. But we need something that's a little bit more mild, and I try to make mine where it doesn't have a bitter aftertaste, or what. And then also
the finish.
The finish, is. I try to make mine where it's smooth the whole through the front and middle and back of your palate.
Okay, does that help? Does anything coming from Kentucky and bourbon land help go towards this? Because isn't it the same thing? Like bourbon should have that smoothness too.
I just think I'm older, but I don't know.
But that means you're wiser and you've been around the block and taste, right?
I'll tell you, there's a really good bourbon that's finished in a Pinot Noir oak barrel.
Wow.
That's really good. So that bourbon finished in that wine barrel is excellent.
Where?
What's that? Angel's
Envy. That's
Angel's
what
Envy.
It's very smooth.
Where's it from?
I don't know. They just
find Angel's Envy and
Envy,
don't pluck those wings off.
It's finished in that.
Oh, that's
that's interesting.
Or the opposite, they'll put stuff in bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
This is the bourbon that's put in it's really good.
That's really the only thing I drink right now, but.
We learned something like that. In Rocktown Distillery in Arkansas. They're the very first distillery after Prohibition in Arkansas, and then they made it that they're the first distillery that can actually serve cocktails. They went through a lot of red tape to make this happen, and we were there, and he was talking about his, it's almost like the breweries and the bourbonries swap barrels or something. Something was going on,
That's going on in Palisade too.
So it's almost like having an cast iron skillet where that flavor moves from one to the other. And it's healthy, okay to do that. I'm just saying so people don't freak out that, it's okay to go from one barrel. Like you could put wine in one barrel, the same barrel as what bourbon goes into. It's healthy, it's fine to do.
Right.
Okay. Website again?
Peachfork.com.
Peachfork.com. Y'all, when you get here, you got to come here. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for spending time with us. I know. Hey, y'all.
Great.